Brother Anthony, 5 minutes with the King. I just wanted to say the reason we walk while we do this is because life is not static, and what the disciples did was they walked with Yeshua. So I believe as we walk together and we meet with the King, he will come down and give us wisdom that is what my friend Brian calls a now word. We don't need cold, dead things. We need the living word, and that's what Jesus brings. And so I believe this is a living word today, and this is actually just inspired by what I'm witnessing in all the interactions I'm having with kingdom leaders and friends, and everyone is going through the fire. So if you're a kingdom leader or you found this message and you're going through the fire, the first thing that the Lord wants you to hear is that you are not alone. There's this thing that the enemy does to get us to believe that we're the only ones that are going through it. Let me tell you that anyone who is on the path to have Jesus born inside of them, that is the great mystery. Christ in you, the hope of glory. That as Christ grows inside of us, the ones who are birthing that, which is the revelation of the sons and daughters of God, Romans 8, you're going through the fire. You're going through the absolute fire. Whether it's, financial fire, health, whatever area the enemy can come against you, that's what's happening right now. And so I want to give you a word. So as Jesus was walking in John chapter 12, he's getting closer to the crucifixion. He's causing even more dissension, not intentionally, but just as a function of who he is. And his disciples are trying to figure everything out. And he's walking, he's getting really close to, the Passover when he's going to be crucified for the sins of the world. And he says this, he says, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. Truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit." And then he goes on to say, "Whoever loves his life loses it. And whoever hates his life in this world will keep it for eternal life. If anyone serves me, he must follow me. And where I am, there will my servant be also. If anyone serves me, the Father will honor him." Friends, did you hear this? Unless the grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it cannot bear much fruit. And I've heard this false claim that, Jesus died so that we didn't have to. And this is a twisting of something that is true. Jesus is the only one who could die for the sins of the world. Yes, we could not do that. But Jesus did not die so that we wouldn't have to. He died to show us how. Friends, you and I are invited to the same thing. We're invited. He says, Dietrich Bonhoeffer says, when Christ calls a man, he bids him come and die. You're being called to die right now. You're being called to die to selfish desires. You're being called to die to comfort. You're being called to die to reputation. You're being called to die in so many ways. We all are. But what the Father promises is that if we choose to die, if we lay our lives down with Christ, if we can truly say, "I am crucified with Christ. It's no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me." If we say yes to this, God will do far more abundantly than all we can ask or imagine, because it will be him living inside of us. See, the death of the flesh is not in vain. The death of the flesh is meant to be the precursor to resurrection power coming through us. And I heard the Lord say, I want to do the Triumphal Entry 2.0. See, Jesus walked into Jerusalem. He rode in, I should say. And this was called the Triumphal Entry. And I heard the Lord say to me a while back, he said, "Anthony, I want to ride into Jerusalem once more. But this time, the Jerusalem I want to ride into first and foremost is the Jerusalem that lives inside of your heart." He said, "Make straight the way of the Lord. Prepare the way." He said, "I am coming to live inside of human hearts." So the fact that Jesus said this statement, unless the grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it cannot bear much fruit. He said this right after the Triumphal Entry, right before the Son of Man is lifted up. And so, friend, I'm speaking to you prophetically. I just prophesy to you now. I'm just going to pray. Father, I thank you that my brothers and sisters are not alone in their trials, that you are actually preparing them to receive a greater revelation of the Son of God within. I pray right now that they'd be strengthened with power from on high, that in their utter death and utter submission unto the will of God, that they would receive far more abundantly than all they could ask or imagine. I pray a great outpouring of the Spirit on this word right now over my friends, that there's a company of people in the earth who love their lives not unto the death. They're willing to lay down everything, even visions and dreams. They're willing to lay down everything in order that they might gain Christ. And so, Father, this is foreign to us in America, but God, I thank you that many of the people listening to this word are the ones who just hunger and thirst for you. So, Father, I just pray right now that the triumphal entry would take place once more, and that you would return, come back inside of us, allow us to lay our lives down as you laid your life down for us, that you may be glorified. We must decrease, you must increase. I love you all. This has been 5 Minutes with the King. Brother Anthony, let the Lord crush you. Let him sustain you. And let him bring the resurrection power. Remember, the resurrection is always on the other side of the Garden of Gethsemane and the cross. Be blessed.